Hello, my name is Doug Sicchitano. I am with Streamstar, and today I'm at the One Source production studio, and we're going to show you Streamstar's great new product coming out into the US, a live multi-camera production switcher. Now, what separates Streamstar's product from the rest of the competition is ease of use. You're not going to find another product on the market that is so intuitive to use and easy to use. You can sit down in front of this. In a matter of minutes, you will be able to quickly start producing great content for web, television, or recording. Now, let's go into some of the highlights of the Streamstar software. As you look at the interface, what we have up is the General Systems tab. You can see over here, you have the projects file. It's where you would save the projects. You also have the media, where you would save the media. Now, besides the interface, you can set up a multi-view viewer. So you have options for program, just cameras, or program and cameras. So you can have a two-monitor setup where you are seeing the interface and the multi-view to get a better picture of the cameras in your program. Being from Europe, it will also do PAL or NTSC, and it has both SDI out and HDMI out. And that is on all product lines. You're going to get SDI out and HDMI out. Now moving into the camera. Now this is the 710 case. No matter what you're getting, the software is going to be the same throughout all the models. And that is something that's very important. All the features I'm going to show you today are in every model of Streamstar. The only difference is the number of inputs. The 710 case is a 6-camera input. The 500 is a 4-camera. The X4, which is a 2RU rack unit, is a 4-input. The X7, which is a 2RU rack unit, is a 6-input. So you have the ability to come in here. Input 4 is set to SDI. We don't have anything plugged into it, but you have some options. The 500 case in the X4 have both SDI and HDMI inputs, so you could be able to choose. Another cool feature is for training or for practicing. It does have built-in demo, so I have cameras 1, 2, and 3 set to the built-in demo mode, which runs a little soccer game, so that allows you to practice, look at replays. You have ingest settings. So you could bring in the software Score Plus, which is a scoreboard software made by Streamstar, which I will talk about a little bit later. You could bring that in through a standard IP Cat5 network input. You also have SDI output settings through the Blackmagic cards. And there is also tally port settings, which depending on your cameras and setup, you could set up a tally port. Now let's move on to the audio. So the audio is all SDI embedded, coming from the camera signals or internal media. There is an internal media drive that you were able to play clips, commercials, things of that nature. None of our products do have any analog inputs, but I don't find that as a problem as somebody who does productions myself. You have the options of getting an embedder, where you have a converter that would embed both the video and analog audio signal. Blackmagic makes embedders. There's a number of digital audio mixers out there that have USB out ports that you can configure to come in audio that wise. Another option is if you have an analog switcher, you can easily just take the output of your analog switcher, take it to your nearest camera, and push the audio signal in through the camera that way to get to the embedded audio for the Streamstar. So you have your standard controls, faders. You can also auto follow video so that when you take that camera, that's when the audio comes up. As you see, the masters went down because I turned on audio follows video, and right now camera 2 is up. If I turn it off, the master audio comes back up. You also have the ability to kill it, mute the channel, and you also have the ability to solo the channel in headphones. Now we're going to go back to the General Systems tab, and we're going to go over to streaming. So streaming, that's one of the major features. It can stream, it can record internally, it can ISO record. So streaming features, you have a number of built-in platforms. It's a lot of the popular systems, Ustream, YouTube, Facebook Live, and we're also adding platforms. So if there is a particular platform that you really like to use, please feel free to contact Streamstar on the website and suggest it, and you'll find your new favorite next best streaming platform coming to a Streamstar near you very soon. And then you have your encoding tabs, so you can go in and change any settings for streaming and the encoding. So if you wanted to adjust high quality, standard quality, it's an ability to do 720, 1080. You could change the bit rates, and you could save your profiles. Now on the recording side, you have your main recording, which will record internal to internal hard drive on the system. If you wanted to use an external hard drive, you can. Pretty much all the product lines have USB 3.0 ports, so that's a high-speed port. So if you had a fast enough external hard drive, you could easily plug that into the USB 3.0 port, and then you would be able to set the system that your recording and ISO files would go to the external hard drive, so that at the end of the day, you could just take your external hard drive, put it into your editing system, or however you're going to deliver your media, and it would speed up your workflow. So you have some options for recording. You could do standard def, 720, and 1080. And then you also have the ISO recording settings. So you can ISO record all of the inputs coming into the system, which again is helpful if you're going into a post situation. Some other features under the general setting would be, the About tab is showing you the version of the software and your license key. Once you purchase the product, you will get a license key. One thing you do need to understand is it does need to ping our servers. It's about once every 14 days. It will need to go onto the internet for the servers to see it, recognize the license key, and reactivate the system so you don't lose any features. Moving on, we're going to look at the JVC controls. So Streamstar has partnered with JVC, and any of the JVC cameras that can do streaming, like the 200 or the 620 or the 660 series cameras, you can hook up to any of the Streamstar products through Ethernet Cat5 network. And what happens is the Streamstar software basically becomes a CCU control for those cameras. So you would go in, put in the IP address, log in, and connect. And then once you're connected, you can either bring in video either through SDI from that camera or through the Cat5 Ethernet connection. But once you have that, you can go over the control and you have the ability to tell it to record, iris settings, gain, white balance, shutter, and you can even go over and do zoom control and focus control. So pretty much you can control that camera from soup to nuts except for pan and tilt. It also will do tally. So for the JVC cameras that you're working with, if you have them hooked and linked to the system, you get instant tally. And of course, you would just switch through to whatever camera you would need to control. So it is a great, powerful function to have that much control over a camera right out of the Streamstar box. CCU control down to, setting it to audio or manual full control to recording. Very powerful tool. Now let's look at switching in general in the Streamstar. It is very easy. One thing to note, if you buy any of our case products, the monitor on the front is a touchscreen. So it's fully capable to touchscreen, and then you also have the ability to do a mouse. If you were to buy the rack units, the X4 or the X7s, you could also supply your own touchscreen and you would have the same user interface. But switching is very simple. Right now, camera 2 is up. If I wanted to do camera 1, I just put the mouse, or in this case for the case, my finger over 1, and I just click it, it switches. Now you have 3 options up here in the mixing mode. Up to the top, you have the direct cut, you have crossfade, which you can adjust the timing for the fade, and you have transitions. Now these are the only preset wipes that you have as far as transitions. But it works just like any other switcher. If you're on crossfade, it's going to do a nice fade between all of the cameras. And then if you do a transition, you can then select your transition and it'll do the transition of your choice, and you can change the timing for that. So standard switching, very easy. Just pick your camera, click on it, point on it. Now there is also the keyboard, which is an optional purchase. You can also supply your own keyboard because the hotkeys are exactly the same. So if you see at the top, the red buttons are basically your program bus bar, and you press those to get your cameras. And so I will demonstrate. You just click 1, 2, 3, and then you can switch right back. And it's the same thing. Switch it to direct cut. 1, 2, 3, and you can switch. Now, moving on, one of the greatest features about the Streamstar software is the ability for it to do split screens in picture-in-picture. Now, in a normal production switcher, and probably none of the production switchers, at this level in price, can really do a lot of split screens easily. In bigger production switchers, you're going to have to go into an ME, you're going to have to do a lot of adjustments and settings and moving of it to get a nice picture-in-picture. The picture-in-picture for this could not be any simpler. You come up, select what you want. I'm going to select this 2 box. What do I want in A? I'm going to select camera A1. What do I want for the B setting? I'm going to select camera B. What do I want for my background? Well, I'm going to go over into media. I'm going to select this as my background. I have it set to loop. And now, once I go live, it's going to direct cut. I could also do the fade. I could also do a transition. I'm going to hit go live, and I got a picture-in-picture. The best part is it remembers the last setting. So if you do come and you say come to camera 3, but you want to go back to your picture-in-picture, it's going to remember the last input you put in. You hit go live and it's going to go to it. It's the same thing on the split screen. If you wanted to do 3 talking heads, you could do that. A, B, C, go live. You have 3 talking heads. If you're doing a news program where you have 3 guests, maybe remote feeds, or you could even put a Skype feed or something like that. You could easily do 3 heads at once on the screen. So I love, as a production guy, I love this. When I found out how easy it is to do a picture-in-picture in a split screen, I was just blown away. Because if you are a school, if you are a church, if you're a college, if you have inexperienced people running your system, or you have students and they're learning, it's going to be very simple for them to sit down and use this in a matter of seconds, because it's intuitive and it's easy to follow. And the split screen and the picture-in-picture, it just shows how simple of an operation the Streamstar software is. Now moving on, since we did show you the media, I'll show you the media tab. So this is the media tab where you can load in your own videos, background animations, commercials, video features. It's going to basically accept anything on an MP4 format. It will accept H.264 on an MP format basis. So you have a lot of options there. And for every one of them, you have the line here, you have this eye icon. Anytime you see that eye icon in Streamstar, that means a preview. So if I click on it, you will see that it plays the video and gives you a preview. Now you also have this button. This button allows you to add it to a playlist. So you click that, here comes the playlist. You can create a playlist, or if you have your own, you just click on it and it's going to add it to that playlist. So you bring in all your media, you want to create a playlist of, say, a commercial spot, you have the ability to do that. You also have the ability to set it to single play, which is just a straight arrow, or you can have it set to loop. So for a background, you have a 20-second animation, you want it to loop for your background, you're all set. You can also turn on audio. If it has audio, it'll recognize it. If it doesn't, it'll show down here, no audio. If you didn't want to use the audio for whatever reason, you could just simply turn that out. The arrows here, again, whenever you see those arrows, it's positioning. Where do you want that? You click the arrow up, it's going to move it up in the list. Okay? So now moving on, we'll look at the playlist tabs. So here's the playlist. So this is John's Goal playlist. I've had some stuff in here from earlier. And if I click down on here, this shows the playlist. So right now in the playlist, there is a lot of replays. And then as you see, the last thing I added just now is the background. And again, same controls as in the media tab. You can preview it, you can tell it to loop, you can order it, you can turn off the sound, and you can delete it and adjust your playlists. Now let's take a look at the graphics. You have 4 layers, 4 downstream keyers. But you also have a built-in character generator. So down here on the CG tab is the controls for your built-in character generator. Now you have the ability to do lower thirds with a background template, score bar, scrolls, rolling credits. As an example, I'll come up here, I'm going to put this scroll online. So as you can see, there's a scroll, very smooth. If I wanted to do a crawl, you have the ability to do that as well. And it's very simple to go in and edit. It's the same type of buttons. If you wanted to preview, you hit the eye icon. If you wanted to edit, anything for editing is always going to be the pencil icon. And then you have the ability to adjust in the position and then also delete it. Now let's take a look at some of the lower thirds. So here's a lower third, and if you look on the screen, what we'll have is it's going to fly in. So you have the ability to have animated graphics. The reason, and I'll show you by going into the editing tab, is the background template is an FLV file. So you can create an animated FLV template, load it in, have your own template for your own colors or logo or however you want your background, load it in, and you can get an animated background. Now, like it says here, if you wanted to preview, you just click it and it's going to show you how it animates on. And you also have position, so you can change the position controls on the X and Y axis. You could tell it to loop constantly. You could tell it if you wanted to crossfade, the duration, scale, if you needed to zoom it up, whatever you needed to do. And as far as changing text, it's very easy. You just come in, change the text you want, change the font, change the position, change the blocking, the line spacing, bold, alignment. It has a lot of features to create and adjust your graphics to suit your needs. And then you have text line 2 and text line 3. So you have 3 text lines. Going out of this and back, you can do simple score bar graphics in here. So there's a score bar, animated on, again, FLV file, animated on. You can go in and adjust it. It's set to a duration, so it's going to animate off. To create a new file, it's very easy. You would come up and you could say new text or new crawl. New text pops up. You would go in, select what background you wanted out of the templates, and then again, go into the text and adjust your text as needed. Now, beyond that, that is one way to do graphics, and one layer of graphics is the CG. Another way to do graphics would be on the overlays. So the overlays would be more of pre-made graphics. If you made in Photoshop a PNG file or through another system, a JPEG or PNG or of some flavor, also FLVs for animated, you could bring into the overlay section. Now I'm going to change this. This is an overlay, but it is one of our wipe overlays. And what you have here, this is going to be an FLV file, so it's going to animate. I'm going to load that into the overlays, and then I'm going to fire the overlay. As you see, comes on, animates, very pretty, very professional, high quality, high-end graphics out of a simple software-based system that is extremely well priced. Now, I will show you, here's a graphic that I use for production recently, and it's just a simple PNG graphic that was made in Photoshop, but it looks very sharp and very easy. Now, one thing that is great about using the overlays, if you have them loaded in, is, again, with the keyboard. You see here, there's the corresponding A12345 and B12345. Those are the hotkeys that correspond on the user interface here. So the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are assigned to A12345, and the bottom row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are assigned to B1, 2, 3, and 5. So right now we have the AARP graphic up, but if I wanted to go back to the Facebook, I would just press 1, it loads it in, and since the overlay was already hot, it just automatically takes it. So that's a hotkey. So if you had pre-made graphics, you have the ability to have 10 hotkey pre-made graphics right at your fingertips. So it's something that would be very handy in a production. So now I'm just going to kind of go over, now that we talked about the various ways to do graphics and the layers and the downstream keyers, I'm going to show you how they work. So up in the top left corner of the interface, you have the layers. You have logo, overlay, CG, and ingest. What the ingest is basically an external source, an external CG character generator. Streamstar has a beautiful product called Score Plus. It's fully animated graphics and is built for individual sports, so you don't have to use a generic template. You can go right in and it's going to have, if it's a soccer, or since this is a European company, they do call it football. You have, for starting lineups, it'll roll in with a shot of the field and then pop in all the starting lineups in their positions. It's a beautifully simple, again, very simple, easy to use interface, but producing extremely powerful, top quality graphics that you would see on big 53-foot production trucks. But besides using Streamstar's own graphic system, Streamstar is NDI compliant. So Newtek's NDI IP video protocols will work with Streamstar. So any of the apps, any of the graphic systems that are going to be NDI compliant, like LiveText and LT scoreboards, are going to work with Streamstar. So if you have an existing production flow that you need an extra switcher, Streamstar is going to meld very well into that, especially with NDI protocols. So that is the ingest. You're taking in external graphics and bringing it in. The CG, obviously, as we discussed, comes from the internal generator, and then the overlay comes from the overlay tab. The logo layer is basically a bug. So how do you get into the bug is you would go into the settings icon and then go into ingest, go over to the logo, and you would have the ability to put in a bug, transparent background, and if I go up here into logo, it's going to highlight it and it'll pop it on screen. It's an animated Streamstar logo that flies in and flies out, but you could do whatever you want with it. This again is an FLV file, so it's animated, but if you have a PNG and you just wanted to keep that on nonstop, again, that's something you can do. Now while we're in the ingest tab, I will go back over to ingest. To go back to the external character generator, one thing you do have, if you have an external character generator that outputs its signal from a chroma key and you need to key it out, this would be your controls to be able to chroma key your external character generator coming in. So that's how logo works. It's your bug. As you can see on the program, it's going to pop in and out the Streamstar logo. And then again, the overlay, we went over that. Select what you want. I'm going to select A2. It's going to load it, put it on screen. And as you can see, anytime you have them active, the box turns red. And that's the same thing with the cameras. It's showing all 3 cameras are red because we're in the split screen. I click one camera, it's only going to box out the one red. So it's the same thing. To take off the overlays, I just simply click on it. It's not going to go from red and it's going to come out. Now again, on the keyboard, you have shortcuts for the overlays and graphics, which is right up here. You have logo, overlay, CG, and ingest. So if I wanted to bring in the logo, I just click it, it's going to pop up and populate. And again, the little windows there give you preview of what's loaded. What is your hot file that's going to come on? And so if I put on overlay, it's going to be the ARP logo. That's going to pop up. And if I click it again, it's going to go out. And the same thing with the bug, the logo. I click it, it's going to disappear. So that's how your downstream keys work. Very simple, easy to use. Once again, you sit down with the system for a couple minutes and you're off and running. Now, up here, just to show, you have some indicators that tell you, are you streaming, are you recording, and what are you recording in? So if I come down here and I do record settings and I hit start, you're going to see the green icon pop up and it's going to show that I am recording, just to give you a heads up like, hey, you're recording, or hey, you're not recording, maybe you should. And then you have the ability to stop it. It shows you the record time. It shows you the remaining that you have left. And the same thing with the streaming. We're not connected to the internet, but if I were to hit start streaming, again, you would get an indication that you are streaming and everything is green, good. On the general tab, you have the SDI out. You could turn the outputs on and off. I'm going to turn the outputs on, and then up here on the out, again, you see it shows SDI out. Now, again, beyond the recording of the ISO and the program file, the stream also records. So if you needed a recording of your stream file, you have that into the system. Now I'm going to go on to what I believe and what everybody else that has seen this system at NAB or any other demo is extremely excited about. It is the replay system and is by far the highlight of the Streamstar software. I'm going to come down here though and go into the system settings of the replay first. So you come over here and you have some options in the replay. You can tell it to disable the CG, so if you had graphics on, it'll take the graphics off going into it. Disable replays, disable ingest, disable overlays. Now, replay length. So what you have, and I'm going to go over into the replay tab, is you have short, medium, long. There also is a short, medium, long that corresponds on the keyboard. And through the general system settings, you're able to adjust that in replay. So the keys would be B, N, and M if you were using your own keyboard, but you could go in and so you can adjust the short from 3 to 5 seconds, and you can adjust the long from 10 to 20 seconds. Then you also have the ability to adjust the ratio for the slow motion. Do you want it at 50%? Do you want it to do 70%? Do you want it to do 100%? And then there's the ability to slow it down even more or speed it up with the X and the C keys. Now wipes. I'm going to go over to the wipe section. Now, although the transitions are only the built-in transitions, for replay wipes, you can bring in your own wipe. On Streamstar support website page, you can download the instructions. It's very simple to do. So if you wanted to do your own logo for your network or for your school or your organization to have a nice, crisp, professional wipe, you can build that. And the instructions show you how to do that step by step. Another thing is if you have sponsorships, you have the ability to show how do you want to do it. You have shuffle, you have a sequence, so you can build, replay 1 will be for promo 1, replay 2 will be for sponsor 2, replay 3 will be for sponsor 4. And then you would just select the replays you want. What I'm going to do here is I'll just select a couple so you can see how the sequence, the shuffle works. It's just going to randomly shuffle through it. Now over here is you have the ability for usage. So if your sponsor wanted to track how many times his sponsored wipe made it on screen, this will tell you. So then you can go back and say, your sponsored wipe on this game made it 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. If you were going to a pay per or just to show them that, your sponsorship is getting out there. So that's something nice to have for usage statistics. So now I'm going to go back into the replay. So you have to come in, replays on, select your replay wipes. So now we go back into the replay settings. We already have a couple in here, but how simple it is to do. You're playing the game, you could do it with the keyboard, you could do it with the mouse. If you have a touch screen or a case, you could do it with your finger. So play happens, you hit short or medium long, and instantaneously, with a matter of a second, it has loaded that replay into the system. So it's going to show you all 3 looks. Now it's only going to show you for how many cameras you have plugged in. It automatically detects. So if we had 6 cameras or all 6 demo feeds running, it would show all 6 because this is a 6 input switcher. If it was one of the 4 versions, you could obviously go up to 4 and it would show all 4. Again, simple to use. What is the eye icon? It's a preview. You want to see what is in the replay. You click that, it drops down, it gives you a little menu device so that you can tell. It also will show up here that it was a 4-second recorded replay. Now, to put the replay on, you have a number of options. The first and easiest is just to click which replay you want. Do you want camera 1's look, 2 look, or 3 look? We're going to use 1's look, and as you see, instantaneously as I hit 1, the wipe is going to fire and it's going to go into replay. Click it, boom, there goes the wipe. It's into the replay. As soon as the replay is over with, it's going to fire back out. Now, the next software version that is coming out, this is the 3.0. On the 3.5, we have added some new features. One of them being you get to choose which camera you want to come back out on, and it also gives you a countdown timer. So besides seeing just the scroll bar, again, I'm going to hit 1. You see the scroll bar on 1 slowly go. It's going to have a countdown timer, so you actually have seconds before it's going to fire back. Now, you think, am I going to be stuck in this replay? So if you're in the replay and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in it, but something's happening. Nope, just click a camera, it'll fire right back out. So you're not stuck for the whole replay. If you need to dump out for whatever reason to come back to your program, the system is going to allow you to do that. Now, another option is what we call dynamic. This camera icon here is dynamic. Basically what it does is it turns the replay into a mini switcher. So maybe the first part of the play looked good on 1, but then the end of the play looked good on 3, but you don't want to see all of 1, just the first part of it. So now that you've turned on dynamic, what's going to happen is I will hit 1, it'll start to play 1, and as soon as I want to go over to 3, it'll do a dissolve and go over to 3, and then again, play back out. If you notice, it did do a dissolve. So that is a nice feature. It'll wipe in, it'll wipe out, but in between, if you're going from one look to another, it'll do a nice dissolve. So that's dynamic. You just go in there and you can switch just basically turns it like a switcher. You could switch through the different ones that you want. Now, another option is sequence. This is this icon here. You click on this, and now this basically builds a playlist. So think, if I had all 6 looks, but I wanted to see 3 of them, I have the ability. So, I want to look at look 1, and I want to look at look 3. It's going to play look 1, and then after it plays look 1, it's going to do a nice dissolve into look 3. It's going to play all of look 3, and then it's going to do a wipe back out. So extremely easy to use, extremely powerful, but it doesn't end there, because you have the ability to come over, click this and edit, and you can type, label what you want. Just come in and name it, whatever you want to save for later or just for reference. You can, again, with the arrows, move it up and down. You also can delete it. If it ended up not being a good replay, you can delete it. But besides that, you also have the option to go into the preview and you could say favorites. So you could list it as a favorites. And then up here, you have all or you have favorites. So you can click favorites and it's going to create a list of all the favorites. So here's all the starred replays. So now you have a list, you've labeled it, and if you wanted to go back to it later in the broadcast, exactly where it is, which one was the best look, and it's going to be in a shortened favorite list instead of the complete all of the replays. Now another option for the replay, again in the preview tab, is you can add it to the playlist. Just like we added media to a playlist, you can add this to a playlist. This is already a playlist, John's Goals already in there, but you can make whatever you want. Just click on it, it's going to automatically add it, and it's going to indicate that it was added to a playlist. Now, one thing to know, when you make it a favorite and use it from the favorites, it's going to play it in slow motion. It's going to, whatever you have the percentage set to. Once you add it to a playlist, it's going to play it at full speed. You're not going to get the slow-mo from the playlist effect. But a lot of times when I'm directing football, if I'm doing halftime highlights or end of game highlights, I kind of want those to be broadcasted at full speed anyways. So it's really nice to dump a bunch of favorites into a playlist and then use those for a high speed, normal speed playlist for highlights. So that is the replay system. Again, I've never seen any replay system like this. I've used a lot of products that are similar to this, and they have built-in replays, but none of them are this simple. None of them are this powerful. None of them have all the features that you're going to have with the Streamstar product line. And again, it doesn't matter what model you buy. Everything I have shown in the replay is going to work exactly like you see it. The only difference is the number of inputs. Do you want to spend the money for a 6-input switcher that works for your workflow? Or do you want to spend the money on a 4-input switcher that works for your workflow? Do you want to spend the money on a case that has the built-in monitor? Or do you want to spend the money on a rack unit that has, you could supply your own monitors? It's up to you. We've created this product line so that you can integrate it into your workflow at a great cost and have all the benefits of an extremely powerful switcher, but in a model, in a price range that works for you. Thank you very much for joining us here at the OneSource Video Production Studio. I'm Doug Sicchitano with Streamstar. Have a good day.